Hey guys, it's Logan here with Hydra572. I would really love to give this blade a mediocre review, but I'm not gonna. No review sheet today. This is like my 5th day in a row of less than 5 hours of sleep, and I gotta send this baby off in the morning, so fuck it, let's make a video. Kershaw Swerve, Walmart edition with the cheaper steel, non-assisted, and coated blade instead of stonewash. I'm hoping that on the actual Kershaw Swerve, the working mechanicals are a little bit nicer. You guys remember very recently in my first impressions video, I said that the working mechanicals were pretty mediocre, and I'll stand by that. The flipper you kind of have to load and then push button. Rocking back on it really doesn't work, as you guys saw there. Thumb studs are a little bit small for my taste, and there is some play in the lock. For those reasons, I wasn't psyched about the blade when I got it. I thought that it should be an assisted knife, and the full-on version is assisted, so there you go. Intended usage, EDC, possibly emergency defensive if you needed it. It's a little bit on the small side for my taste, but this is larger than the knife that a lot of people carry, so there you go. Blade profile, as you guys can see, is a very cool drop point, good EDC worker type style of blade. Got a flat there to sharpen with, a very slight hollow grind, cool looking blade overall. And I know I'm supposed to hate 3CR13. I've been reading all the forum posts about how it's a shitty soft steel, but in my cut test it held up pretty well. I put it to some medium duty tasks with some cardboard, some cordage, and some paper, and it held up well and sharpened up to a good razor's edge really quick. I mean, it's pretty soft, but a lot of budget steels are really soft. I've seen soft AUS 8A, and I've seen soft 8CR13 that have been praised, so I'm not sure why everybody's trashing on this. Maybe Kershaw is really good at heat treating the stuff. Couldn't tell you. The deployment, like I said, the working mechanicals are not spectacular. The thumb studs are a little bit small for my taste, but they work pretty well. The flipper, you kind of have to do this preloading push button type of action. Maybe if you have quite a few flippers, you'll be used to it. Back rock really just doesn't work. Lock, there is that play side to side. Like I said, this knife does not shine in terms of working mechanicals, but as a cutter, it did pretty dang well. The handle, we have FRN with K-texture over steel liners. And there are some problems. This swell here does get a little bit rough on your hand. It wore into this part of my hand when I was pushing down doing some harder cuts. Any knife is going to be a little bit uncomfortable if you cut hard with it. I think if this swell was rounded a little bit better, a little more contoured, I think that would be better. I like the 3D element in this angle, but it does sort of lead to this ridge, this swell here, and I wish they would have contoured that better. Still, the clip was a little bit obnoxious. I mentioned that in the first impressions. There's no reason for that not to be down in a little bit further, but it wasn't as much of a problem in the cut test as I thought it would be. Overall, ergonomically, it did pretty good for a budget blade. Onto the jimping, it's crappy. This is the kind of jimping that I wish, if they were gonna just do this, I wish you would just save the machining costs and not do it, because it interrupts that smooth feel of a thumb ramp with the transition from the back of the knife onto an uninterrupted thumb ramp. It disrupts that, and it doesn't give you any extra grip. So if it's going to be this not tacky, this not grippy, I'd prefer just not to have it. The Kershaw Echelon is a good example of that. It has the uninterrupted. So you guys can see there's just a flat surface all the way here, and it actually feels pretty good. We could have gone for that with the Swerve. We did not, however. Presentation, it's okay. It's a nice looking blade. I think it would be better if it was a little bit bigger. It actually is smaller to me than it appeared in photographs. Otherwise, looks fine. I think it would look better, the full-on one with the stonewash. We have the open flow-through design with a relatively large and slightly decorative backspacer. I liked the one on the freefall more, but just that little bit of kind of faux file work is a nice little touch. The quality, like I said, working mechanicals are not this knife's strong suit. Value, well, you know, it's a cheap folder. I'm not sure that it's the best that Kershaw offers. The full-on knife, like from Blade HQ, is like 25 bucks. The cheaper Walmart editions are just that. They're cheaper. Depending on the Walmart that you go to, you can find them pretty low. Get them in a package deal with a Kershaw Freefall, also black-coated. It's a pretty cheap blade. I'm thinking that I would tend to push people toward the full-on Swerve, just because the assist would take care of part of the working mechanicals problem. We could cinch up this pivot a little bit tighter, and it would still open authoritatively. That might solve part of the problem, and I think it looks better, too. On to competition. Well, everything really, even from within inside the Kershaw line. The Kershaw Freefall was new in 2013, and I think it's a little bit better. Perhaps not for an EDC cutter, for someone who wants to do a lot of serious work, but as an emergency defensive blade, that blade is certainly better. And for someone who's only going to be doing light duty, opening packages and mail and whatnot, the Freefall might even be a better EDC knife. The Clash, on the other hand, is certainly a better knife for both emergency defensive and EDC in my mind. That's an older one from Kershaw's line. And with the new Kershaw offerings, what with Emerson and whatnot, this could be a really red letter year for Kershaw, and I'm not sure that this blade really stacks up to their new lineup, but I don't really have a specific problem with it. Some of the problems that I had, the working mechanicals and whatnot, I taught myself more about the knife and more about how it opens, and I just accepted a higher level of blade play than I typically want to, and now it's not so bad. The clip is still obnoxious, but overall on the cut test, it did pretty good for a $25 or cheaper knife. So, like I said, I really wanted to give this knife a bad review right off the block when I got it out of the package. I was pretty disappointed. I think that came across in the first impressions. I said it wasn't spectacular, and that's still true. It's not one of the best in the Kershaw line, but if you're looking for an EDC folder that you're really going to thump on and not care about, you can do a lot worse than the Swerve, in my mind. The Walmart edition, especially if you get that package deal, what with the Freefall and the Swerve. Now you've got two pretty cool blades, slightly cheaper editions of them, and kind of get your feet wet, see what you think about them. And, you know, I'm definitely not against Walmart doing the thing where they purchase a special production run from a knife company. I think a lot of people learn about quality knives that way. And, you know, yeah, no, this is not a world shaker. It doesn't stand up with the Tenacious. It doesn't stand up with the Rat 1. It doesn't even really stand up with some of Kershaw's lineup. But I'm oddly endeared to the thing. It did well in my cut test. The 3CR13 held up a lot better than I was told that it would. Like I said, my tests are subjective, but the hand feel, also very subjective, is a little bit more concrete, and it actually didn't do all that badly, especially for a budget knife. That's pretty much it. Hope you guys have enjoyed our little break from the review sheet. In terms of pass or fail, like I said, if you can get it really cheap from a Walmart, and if you're the kind of guy who wants knives that you can get gunk on and go out and thrash, do some wood cutting, all that kind of stuff, hard cardboard cutting, and not really have to worry about it so that you can keep your nice frame locks in your pocket, you know, I'm all in favor of secondary EDC blades, and this one makes a very cheap addition to the secondary EDC, or possibly as a gift item, something like that. So, tentative pass. I wouldn't say that you have to go out and add this particular version to your collection right away. The full-on Swerve might be a completely different story. I might want to check that blade out here in the near future. Anyways, that's the review. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more of the same.